I wanted to share with y'all, brothers and sisters, some of the just how amazed I am at like my own ignorance when I study or just when I've learned about life. And one of those is what I've been speaking a lot about recently about the American imperialism, and I never realized that a lot of the presidents actually felt like they were doing God's business. For example, when they were killing blacks and Indians and the indigenous people here. So, what people will say is they'll say Mexicans and Indians, right? But the indigenous people, the people who lived here, and just how they would claim that they were doing God's business, like Woodrow Wilson and President Reagan. I believe those are two of the big ones who just really felt they were doing God's business. So I'm just amazed at like the way that America imperialism and how they just like have killed so many people who didn't deserve it just for their own selfish ambitions and their own selfish gains. And just learning a lot of this, and it really makes me realize why when we're supposed to be conformed to the image of Christ, we're taken away from being conformed to the image of this world. So what happens is we're supposed to be conformed to the image of Christ, not to the image of the world. And that's why the scripture explains that. And I just am surprised at how, and I knew I had heard about it before, but I guess I just never really understood it the way that black people and Mexican people and Indian people, the way that they've been demoralized and kind of had their self-image destroyed by a lot of these things that have gone on in history. And that's why Jesus Christ gives us a self-image when we come to him, because I guess you would probably consider, the world would consider, right, like poor people not as bad as like the way that, and I'm talking to the way the world would say it, so this is foolish, but the poor wouldn't be classified, I suppose, like being poor and white in the world's eyes would be better than being like black or Mexican or Indian. And like I said, that's a foolish worldly way of looking at it. But the reason I bring that up is because, like, me being poor, I've been very naive to a lot of these things, because obviously they keep us in the state of a wage slave. So, but what I've begun realizing lately is just how bad American imperialism has been. And I never understood that the way that internally, not only externally, the way they've destroyed the Philippines and the Cubans and the South Americans and the Mexicans. And that's what they say about the Mexicans. Like, America completely recently, not even that long ago, destroyed the Mexicans big time. And all the operations they've done in South America to destroy them, like from the 1960s to the 1989 when they killed those 6 Jesuit priests. And I never realized, just because I've been in America, right? So I never had that outside perspective to realize that a country will keep its insiders safe, but on the exterior, they have to destroy a lot of people and kill a lot of people in the process, or they might not even have to, but they do. So being in America, I've been protected, and I didn't really realize all of those external kind of doublespeak they use, like in George Orwell, 1984, is the way that we just like violate amendments and violate pacts and violate agreements because we're imperial. No one else matters. If we make a promise to them, it doesn't matter, because America is so powerful that they deserve to be destroyed anyways, and we're an imperial nation, so they have to die. They need to die, so we can further our purposes through American imperialism. So we're big, we're bad, we deserve the land that we take, we deserve the resources that we steal, is the mentality there. And I'm very ashamed that I wasn't more aware of this until recently. And one of those reasons is I didn't know much about foreign affairs. But the way that I escaped out of it was I was listening to a lot of I've been listening to a lot of John Gatto to understand the purpose of government schooling, and then I've been listening to some Noam Chomsky, and I know he doesn't believe in God, but he has a lot to say about these foreign inconsistencies that few people ever hear of, and how America just kills and kills and kills, and they make the language sound like it's everybody else's fault, when in fact it's just we're an imperial nation and we want everybody's stuff, and then they get nothing in return. So, but what I go off of is the way that America believes they're doing God's business, and that's exactly what Rome did when in 400 A.D. and I'm quoting Noam Chomsky here. I'm not sure who he was quoting, but Rome became the church of the persecutors, and that's where because they control history, you forget about the poor people who were persecuted, because the shift went from the church of the persecuted in the world's eyes to the church of the persecutors. But that's only because the poor people and the victimized don't have rights to media. They don't have the rights to publish the things that was happening to them. Kind of like the Roman catacombs, and people know that that's where Christians were gathering under those persecutions. So, excuse me, a lot of people feel that these imperial nations and these empires were Christian, and they still have that idea today because America says, hey, we're Christian. Well, that doesn't make them Christian just because they say that, because to be Christian is to be Christ-like. And I really hope that whatever nation y'all are from, or whatever your background is, that we realize that we're a new race in Jesus, and that's why we're conformed to the image of Jesus. And he says that he knew us before the foundations of the world, that we're supposed to be conformed to the image of him, because that makes us, that explains how from eternity it gives us history and it gives us a future to go towards. And I wanted to share this because I never just realized the extent of like what this American empire has done, because everything's always so glorified, and it's all made to sound beautiful, and like we're just perfect. And now I'm just starting to come to a very beginning knowledge of how horrible the atrocities coming from this place has been. And my view was slanted and my judgment was blurred because of the kind of media and everything that you're always exposed to in the television and school and everything working against it. So I hope that this helps, and thank you for taking the time to watch, and I hope you will continue on learning with me and studying with me, and post any comments or share, and I hope that my brothers and sisters out there are still pressing towards being conformed in the image of Christ and growing up and maturing. So, alright, talk to y'all later. Bye.